Welcome to Freema Audiobooks, where personal growth begins with awareness and real change starts from within. And we're glad you are here for an audiobook focused on one of the most important life skills you can develop. If you have ever struggled with procrastination, emotional reactions, lack of discipline, or habits that hold you back, this audiobook is for you, because self-control is not about suppression or force, but about understanding, direction, and consistency. Today's audiobook is titled How to Control Yourself Audiobook English, and it is a practical guide to mastering your thoughts, emotions, impulses, and habits so you can live with clarity, discipline, and confidence. This audiobook focuses on emotional regulation, habit control, discipline, focus, and long-term self-mastery in a simple and realistic way. Before we begin, we invite you to subscribe to Freema Audiobooks like this audiobook, share it with someone who wants better self-discipline, and leave a comment telling us where you are listening from, because your support helps this channel continue creating calm, empowering audiobooks that support real personal growth. Before we begin, it is important to know that this audiobook is carefully structured into 9 chapters, each designed to help you build self-control step by step in a realistic, calm, and sustainable way. Each chapter builds on the previous one, so by the end of this audiobook you will understand not only how to control yourself, but why self-control is the foundation of discipline, confidence, emotional stability, and long-term success. Chapter 1. Self-control begins with self-awareness, understanding yourself before trying to change. This chapter is important because true self-control does not begin with forcing behavior, but with understanding thoughts, emotions, triggers, and patterns that quietly guide actions every day. In this chapter, you will learn why awareness is the root of self-control. You will understand how unconscious habits shape behavior. You will discover why willpower alone often fails. You will learn how emotions influence decisions. You will understand the role of triggers and loss of control. You will see why reacting is different from choosing. You will learn how awareness creates space for discipline. You will understand why judgment blocks growth. You will gain clarity on observing yourself honestly. You will learn how awareness reduces impulsive behavior. You will understand why this step is essential before discipline works. And by the end of this chapter, you will see why awareness is the gateway to self-control. Begins with noticing rather than resisting, because most behavior happens automatically without conscious decision-making. Habits run quietly in the background. Emotional reactions occur instantly. Thoughts appear without invitation. Impulses arise suddenly. Without awareness, action follows automatically. Awareness interrupts this cycle. Observation slows reaction. Space appears between impulse and action. Choice becomes possible. Control begins with noticing. Awareness restores agency. This shift changes everything. Many people try to control themselves through force, but force often creates internal resistance that eventually leads to relapse or exhaustion. Suppression increases tension. Tension seeks release. Release often appears as impulsive behavior. Willpower becomes depleted. Guilt follows failure. Shame reinforces the cycle. Awareness replaces force. Understanding reduces resistance. Compassion improves consistency. Control becomes sustainable. Awareness makes discipline gentle. Triggers play a major role in loss of self-control because they activate emotional and behavioral responses automatically. Stress triggers impatience. Boredom triggers distraction. Fatigue triggers poor decisions. Comparison triggers insecurity. Environment influences behavior silently. Awareness reveals triggers clearly. Identifying triggers reduces surprise. Preparedness increases control. Understanding patterns restores confidence. Triggers lose power when seen clearly. Awareness disarms reaction. Emotions are often misunderstood as enemies of self-control, but emotions are signals, not commands. Feelings arise naturally. Ignoring them increases intensity. Fighting them strengthens resistance. Awareness allows acknowledgement. Acknowledgement reduces pressure. Naming emotions creates distance. Distance restores clarity. Clarity improves decision-making. Emotional awareness prevents impulsive reactions. Control emerges through understanding emotions. Emotions become information, not obstacles. Thoughts also influence behavior, because internal dialogue shapes perception, motivation, and reaction speed. Negative thoughts create urgency. Catastrophic thinking fuels impulsivity. Self-criticism weakens discipline. Awareness reveals mental patterns. Patterns can be questioned. Thoughts lose authority when observed. Perspective improves. Calm increases. Control strengthens. Awareness transforms thinking into choice. Thought awareness supports self-control. Self-judgment blocks progress, because harsh criticism triggers emotional reactions that undermine discipline. Shame fuels avoidance. Guilt drains motivation. Fear increases impulsivity. Awareness replaces judgment with curiosity. Curiosity supports learning. Learning improves behavior. Compassion stabilizes effort. Progress becomes possible. Control grows through patience. Awareness creates a safe space for change. Awareness also strengthens consistency, because noticing patterns allows gradual adjustment rather than dramatic overcorrection. Small changes feel manageable. Progress feels achievable. Confidence builds slowly. Stability increases. Overwhelm decreases. Awareness supports pacing. Sustainable discipline replaces extremes. Control becomes a habit. Awareness anchors growth. Self-mastery becomes realistic. Ultimately, self-awareness is the foundation of self-control because you cannot change what you do not see clearly and calmly. Observation precedes choice. Choice precedes discipline. Discipline precedes confidence. Awareness replaces chaos with clarity. Control becomes intentional. Growth becomes sustainable. And once awareness is established, self-control stops feeling like a battle and starts feeling like guidance from within. Now that you understand why self-awareness is the foundation of self-control, the next step is learning how to manage emotions calmly instead of being controlled by them. Because emotions are often the strongest force behind impulsive behavior. In the next chapter, we will focus on emotional regulation as a skill that can be learned, practiced, and strengthened over time. Chapter 2. Mastering your emotions, staying calm, clear, and in control. This chapter is important because emotions influence decisions faster than logic. And without emotional regulation, even the strongest intentions collapse under pressure. In this chapter, you will learn how emotions actually work. You will understand why emotions feel overwhelming. You will discover how emotional reactions bypass rational thinking. You will learn why suppressing emotions backfires. You will understand how to pause emotional responses. You will see how calm thinking restores control. You will learn techniques to regulate emotions. You will understand why emotional mastery improves discipline. You will gain clarity on separating feelings from actions. You will learn how to recover quickly from emotional spikes. You will understand why emotional control improves relationships. And by the end of this chapter, you will see emotions as manageable signals rather than uncontrollable forces. Emotions arise automatically as part of the brain's survival system, which means reacting emotionally is not weakness but biology acting without awareness. The brain scans for threats constantly. Stress activates defensive responses. Fear narrows focus. Anger accelerates reaction. Excitement reduces caution. These reactions are fast. Logic arrives later. Awareness slows the process. Slowing creates space. Space allows choice. Control begins with delay. Understanding biology reduces shame. Many people attempt to suppress emotions, but suppression increases internal pressure and often results in stronger emotional outbursts later. Ignored emotions accumulate silently. Pressure builds over time. Suppression drains energy. Eventually, reactions explode. Suppression disconnects awareness. Awareness allows release. Acknowledgement reduces intensity. Emotions move through faster. Control improves naturally. Acceptance prevents escalation. Regulation replaces suppression. Pausing is one of the most powerful emotional regulation tools because even a short pause interrupts automatic reactions and restores clarity. Pauses slow the nervous system. Breathing deepens awareness. Muscles relax slightly. Heart rate stabilizes. Thoughts slow down. Perspective widens. Impulse weakens. Choice becomes possible.com returns gradually. Pausing protects decisions. Control strengthens through pause. Naming emotions also reduces their power, because labeling feelings activates logical brain regions that calm emotional centers. Saying I feel angry creates distance. Distance reduces intensity. Awareness replaces fusion. Logic re-engages. Emotions feel less overwhelming. Control improves. Clarity increases. Decisions improve. Naming emotions is grounding. Language restores balance. Emotional intelligence strengthens control. Emotional triggers often come from past experiences rather than present reality, which means reactions are sometimes outdated responses to current situations. Past pain influences present reactions. Old fears resurface unconsciously. Awareness reveals patterns. Patterns explain intensity. Understanding prevents overreaction. Present awareness corrects perception. Emotional responses align with reality. Control improves with insight. Emotional maturity develops gradually. Self-trust increases. Calm thinking allows better decision-making because emotional storms distort perception and urgency. Calm restores objectivity. Objectivity improves judgment. Decisions feel intentional. Regret decreases. Discipline strengthens. Confidence grows. Calm allows patience. Patience supports consistency. Emotional control protects long-term goals. Stability increases through calmness. Regulating emotions improves relationships because controlled responses reduce conflict and improve communication. Emotional reactivity damages trust. Calm responses create safety. Listening improves. Understanding deepens. Respect increases. Control prevents regretful words. Relationships strengthen through emotional maturity. Social harmony improves. Self-control benefits others as well. Ultimately, mastering your emotions allows you to respond rather than react, which is the core of true self-control. Awareness slows impulse. Regulation restores balance. Balance supports discipline. Discipline builds confidence. Emotions become guides, not obstacles. And when emotions are managed calmly, self-control becomes reliable rather than exhausting. With emotional regulation in place, the next step is learning how to control impulses and urges, because even calm emotions can still lead to harmful habits if impulses are left unchecked. In the next chapter, we will explore how impulses work and how to regain control over them effectively. Chapter 3. Controlling impulses, breaking the cycle of immediate gratification. This chapter is important because impulses drive many behaviors that undermine discipline, focus, and long-term goals, even when intentions are strong. In this chapter, you will learn why impulses arise suddenly. You will understand how instant gratification hijacks decision-making. You will discover why resisting impulses feels difficult. You will learn how to delay urges effectively. You will understand the role of environment in impulse control. You will see how habits reinforce impulses. You will learn how to weaken urges over time. You will understand why discipline improves freedom. You will gain clarity on replacing impulsive behavior. You will learn how patience strengthens self-control. You will understand why impulse control improves confidence. And by the end of this chapter, you will see impulses as manageable signals rather than commands. Impulses are driven by the brain's reward system, which prioritizes immediate pleasure over long-term benefit by default. The brain seeks comfort. It avoids discomfort. It avoids discomfort. It wants quick rewards. Delayed rewards feel less motivating. Awareness reveals this bias. Understanding reduces self-blame. Impulses are natural. Acting on them is optional. Control begins with awareness of reward wiring. Knowledge restores power. Discipline becomes strategic. Immediate gratification feels powerful because it provides fast relief or pleasure, but the relief is temporary and often followed by regret. Pleasure fades quickly, consequences remain longer. Patterns repeat. Regret increases frustration. Frustration fuels more impulses. Awareness breaks this loop. Delaying gratification weakens impulse strength. Patience builds resilience. Long-term satisfaction grows. Control improves gradually. Delaying impulses is more effective than fighting them, because urges peak and fade naturally if not acted upon. Urges rise quickly. They peak briefly. They decline naturally. Fighting increases focus on desire. Delay shifts attention. Time weakens urge. Control strengthens with practice. Confidence grows through success. Delay trains discipline. Impulses lose authority. Environment plays a major role in impulse control. Because cues trigger urges automatically without conscious thought, visibility increases temptation. Accessibility reduces resistance. Environment shapes behavior. Removing triggers reduces effort. Simplifying surroundings supports discipline. Design beats willpower. Awareness allows adjustment. Control improves through environment management. Discipline becomes easier. Habits reinforce impulses, because repeated behavior strengthens neural pathways that automate action. Repetition builds momentum. Momentum reduces choice. Awareness interrupts repetition. Small changes weaken habits, replacement behaviors redirect impulses, new habits form gradually. Consistency matters. Control grows through repetition. Identity shifts with habits. Replacing impulsive behavior is more effective than eliminating it entirely, because energy must be redirected rather than suppressed. Suppression creates tension. Redirection creates balance. Healthy alternatives satisfy needs. Needs remain valid. Behavior changes gradually. Replacement supports sustainability. Control improves gently. Progress becomes stable. Impulse control strengthens confidence, because each successful delay builds trust in your ability to choose intentionally. Self-trust increases. Confidence stabilizes. Discipline feels empowering. Identity shifts positively. Control reinforces motivation. Progress compounds. Consistency strengthens resolve. Confidence supports growth. Ultimately, controlling impulses transforms self-control from a struggle into a skill. Because awareness, delay, and environment work together to reduce unnecessary conflict, impulses lose dominance. Choice becomes natural. Discipline strengthens calmly. And when impulses are managed effectively, long-term goals regain priority over short-term comfort. Now that you have learned how to recognize impulses and delay immediate gratification, the next step is developing discipline and consistency, because self-control becomes reliable only when it is practiced daily rather than applied occasionally. In the next chapter, we will focus on how discipline is built slowly through structure, routine, and commitment rather than force. Chapter 4. Building discipline, turning self-control into a daily habit. This chapter is important because discipline is what transforms awareness and intention into consistent action, allowing self-control to become stable instead of situational. In this chapter, you will learn why discipline is not personality-based. You will understand how discipline differs from motivation. You will discover why routines matter more than intensity. You will learn how consistency reshapes identity. You will understand why discipline feels hard at first. You will see how structure supports self-control. You will learn why discipline reduces stress. You will understand how small commitments build strengths. You will gain clarity on avoiding burnout. You will learn how discipline improves confidence. You will understand why discipline creates freedom. And by the end of this chapter, you will see discipline as a supportive system rather than punishment. Discipline is built through repetition rather than force, because repeated behavior trains the brain to act automatically without constant resistance. Small actions repeated daily matter. Consistency strengthens neural pathways. Effort decreases over time. Discipline becomes easier. Resistance fades gradually. Habits replace struggle. Identity adapts to behavior. Confidence grows naturally. Discipline feels less heavy. Progress becomes predictable. Repetition is the foundation of discipline. Motivation fluctuates constantly, which is why relying on motivation alone leads to inconsistency and frustration. Energy changes daily, mood shifts unpredictably. Motivation fades under stress. Discipline remains stable. Structure replaces emotion. Action continues despite mood. Discipline removes negotiation. Consistency replaces excitement. Progress becomes reliable. Discipline protects goals. Motivation supports discipline, but discipline leads. Routines support discipline because they remove decision-making and reduce friction between intention and action. Predictable schedules reduce resistance. Habits form faster. Energy is preserved. Willpower is conserved. Discipline becomes automatic. Structure provides safety. Routines reduce overwhelm. Focus improves. Stability supports consistency. Discipline thrives in structure. Discipline also reduces stress because predictability removes chaos and uncertainty from daily behavior. Clear routines reduce anxiety. Decisions become simple. Expectations are managed. Control increases. Progress feels steady. .com replaces urgency. Discipline supports mental clarity. Stability improves emotional regulation. Self-trust grows. Small commitments are more effective than extreme changes because discipline grows gradually through achievable actions. Small wins build confidence. Confidence encourages consistency. Overcommitment causes burnout. Sustainable effort matters. Patience supports growth. Discipline compounds quietly. Small actions create momentum. Progress feels manageable. Stability replaces pressure. Avoiding burnout is essential because extreme discipline without balance leads to collapse rather than growth. Rest supports consistency. Balance preserves energy. Discipline must be humane. Self-respect sustains effort. Recovery supports discipline. Balance prevents rebellion. Long-term progress matters more than speed. Discipline strengthens confidence because keeping promises to yourself builds trust, and self-respect follow-through reinforces belief. Identity shifts positively. Confidence stabilizes. Doubt decreases. Discipline reinforces control. Self-image improves. Progress feels earned. Confidence compounds. Ultimately, discipline transforms self-control into a lifestyle by replacing chaos with structure and resistance with consistency. Habits replace struggle. Structure replaces force. Confidence replaces doubt. And when discipline is built gradually, self-control becomes a reliable strength rather than a constant battle. With discipline established, the next step is learning how to control your focus and attention. Because distraction weakens self-control even when intentions are strong. In the next chapter, we will explore how focus is trained and protected in a world full of distractions. Chapter 5. Mastering Focus. Controlling your attention in a distracted world. This chapter is important because self-control collapses when attention is scattered, and focus determines how effectively discipline and intention are applied. In this chapter, you will learn why focus is limited. You will understand how distractions hijack attention. You will discover why multitasking weakens control. You will learn how to protect focus intentionally. You will understand how environment shapes attention. You will see why focus improves discipline. You will learn how to rebuild concentration. You will understand how digital habits affect self-control. You will gain clarity on prioritization. You will learn how focus reduces impulsivity. You will understand why attention equals direction. And by the end of this chapter, you will see focus as a skill you can train. Attention is limited by nature, which means where you direct it determines what grows and what weakens. Focus strengthens habits. Distraction weakens discipline. Attention feeds behavior. Awareness directs effort. Scattered attention creates chaos. Focus creates progress. Control improves through attention management. Attention is power. Managing it restores self-control. Distractions hijack focus by triggering curiosity, urgency, or emotional reactions that pull attention away from priorities. Notifications interrupt thinking. Social media fragments attention. Noise increases fatigue. Awareness reveals patterns. Reducing distractions restores clarity. Control improves through intentional boundaries. Focus becomes multitasking weakens self-control because switching tasks increases cognitive load and reduces decision quality. Focus fragments quickly, errors increase, fatigue builds, discipline weakens, single tasking improves efficiency, calm increases, control strengthens, focused effort produces better results. Environment shapes focus because visual, digital, and social cues influence attention. Automatically, clean spaces reduce distraction. Organized systems support clarity. Digital limits protect focus. Environment design beats willpower. Awareness enables adjustment. Control improves naturally. Rebuilding focus requires patience, because attention strength increases gradually through practice rather than force. Short focus sessions matter. Consistency builds stamina. Progress feels subtle. Confidence increases slowly. Training focus mirrors physical training. Discipline supports improvement. Digital habits strongly affect focus, because constant stimulation reduces tolerance for silence and effort. Reducing screen exposure improves clarity. Intentional use restores control. Awareness changes behavior. Focused strengthens gradually. Prioritization protects focus by clarifying what matters most and eliminating unnecessary decisions. Clear priorities reduce distraction. Discipline improves. Focus aligns with goals. Energy is preserved. Ultimately, mastering focus strengthens self-control by directing energy intentionally, rather than allowing distraction to decide outcomes. Attention shapes behavior. Focus supports discipline. And when attention is controlled, self-control becomes far more effective. With focus strengthened, the next step is learning how to handle setbacks and failures without losing control, because progress depends on resilience rather than perfection. In the next chapter, we will focus on recovering quickly and calmly when discipline slips. Chapter 6, Resilience and Recovery, Regaining Control After Setbacks. This chapter is important because setbacks are unavoidable, and without resilience, small failures often lead to giving up entirely. In this chapter, you will learn why setbacks are normal. You will understand how failure affects self-control. You will discover why perfectionism is harmful. You will learn how to recover quickly. You will understand how self-compassion supports discipline. You will see why learning matters more than success. You will learn how to restart without guilt. You will understand how resilience strengthens control. You will gain clarity on breaking relapse cycles. You will learn how consistency returns. You will understand why resilience builds confidence. And by the end of this chapter, you will see setbacks as part of growth. Setbacks happen because growth involves experimentation, learning, and adjustment, rather than flawless execution. Mistakes reveal limits. Limits guide improvement. Failure provides feedback. Awareness prevents overreaction. Acceptance supports recovery. Control returns through understanding. Setbacks do not erase progress. Perfectionism weakens self-control because it turns small mistakes into identity judgments. Harsh self-talk increases stress. Stress fuels impulsivity. Guilt leads to avoidance. Compassion, it restores balance. Learning replaces shame. Progress resumes calmly. Recovery begins with acknowledgement rather than denial, because ignoring setbacks delays correction. Awareness restores clarity. Honesty supports adjustment. Calm reflection improves strategy. Control improves through insight. Learning from setbacks strengthens discipline, because each mistake refines awareness and improves future decisions. Reflection creates wisdom. Wisdom supports control. Progress accelerates. Restarting quickly matters more than avoiding mistakes, because long pauses magnify setbacks unnecessarily. Momentum returns with action. Small steps rebuild discipline. Confidence recovers gradually. Resilience strengthens confidence because surviving setbacks proves capability rather than weakness. Self-trust increases. Discipline stabilizes. Growth feels realistic. Ultimately, resilience transforms self-control into a long-term skill by allowing progress to continue despite imperfection. Recovery replaces collapse. Learning replaces shame. And when resilience is practiced, self-control becomes durable and sustainable. Now that you understand how to recover from setbacks and rebuild control without self-criticism, the next step is learning how to control your thoughts, because thoughts quietly shape emotions, behavior, and discipline long before action takes place. In the next chapter, we will focus on mental self-control and how to stop your mind from working against you. Chapter 7, Controlling Your Thoughts, Mastering the Inner Dialogue. This chapter is important because thoughts influence emotions, emotions influence actions, and actions determine habits. Meaning that without control over thinking, self-control remains fragile and inconsistent. In this chapter, you will learn how thoughts are formed automatically. You will understand why negative thinking feels convincing. You will discover how thoughts trigger emotional reactions. You will learn how to separate thoughts from facts. You will understand how overthinking weakens discipline. You will see how mental awareness restores clarity. You will learn techniques to redirect thinking. You will understand why self-talk matters. You will gain clarity on replacing destructive narratives. You will learn how calm thinking improves behavior. You will understand why mental control strengthens confidence. And by the end of this chapter, you will see thoughts as tools rather than commands. Thoughts arise automatically based on past experiences, beliefs, and emotional states, which means not every thought you have deserves attention or belief. The mind constantly interprets reality. Many interpretations are exaggerated, some are outdated, others are fear-based. Awareness reveals this process. Observation weakens thought authority. Distance restores objectivity. Calm increases clarity. Control begins with noticing thoughts rather than obeying them. This awareness reduces impulsive reactions. Mental space expands gradually. Negative thoughts feel convincing because the brain is wired to prioritize potential threats over neutral or positive information. This bias once protected survival. Today it creates anxiety. Awareness reveals this process. Observation weakens thought authority. Distance restores objectivity. Calm increases clarity. Control begins with noticing thoughts rather than obeying them. This awareness reduces impulsive reactions. Mental space expands gradually. Negative thoughts feel convincing because the brain is wired to prioritize potential threats over neutral or positive information. This bias once protected survival. Today it creates anxiety. Assumptions. Evidence is examined. Perspective widens. Emotional charge decreases. Reality becomes clearer. Control improves through discernment. Thoughts lose dominance. Choice becomes possible. Self-talk shapes discipline because repeated internal messages become beliefs that guide behavior unconsciously. Encouraging self-talk supports persistence. Harsh self-talk undermines effort. Awareness reveals patterns. Replacement builds resilience. Language influences emotion. Emotion influences action. Adjusting self-talk improves consistency. Confidence grows through supportive dialogue. Control strengthens internally. Overthinking weakens self-control because excessive analysis delays action and increases doubt. Clarity fades with rumination. Energy drains. Motivation declines. Awareness interrupts loops. Action restores momentum. Simplicity supports discipline. Control improves through execution rather than mental debate. Thought discipline supports behavioral discipline. Redirecting thoughts requires practice, because mental habits change gradually through repetition rather than force. Gentle redirection works best. Focus shifts intentionally. New patterns form slowly. Consistency matters. Patience supports progress. Control becomes habitual. Mental resilience develops over time. Ultimately, controlling your thoughts allows you to influence emotions and actions before they spiral into loss of control. Awareness replaces reaction. Clarity replaces confusion. Choice replaces compulsion. And when thoughts are managed calmly, self-control becomes deeply rooted and reliable. With mental control established, the next step is learning how to control your behavior in challenging environments. Because self-control is often tested not in calm moments, but under pressure, temptation, and external influence. In the next chapter, we will explore how environment shapes behavior and how to regain control within it. Chapter 8. Controlling your environment, designing life for self-control. This chapter is important because willpower alone is unreliable, and environment quietly shapes behavior far more than motivation or intention. In this chapter, you will learn how surroundings influence decisions. You will understand why temptation feels stronger in certain settings. You will discover how environment triggers habits. You will learn how to reduce resistance. You will understand why design beats discipline. You will see how to remove triggers intentionally. You will learn how to create supportive environments. You will understand how structure protects self-control. You will gain clarity on social influence. You will learn how boundaries strengthen discipline. You will understand why environment control reduces effort. And by the end of this chapter, you will see environment as a powerful ally. Environment influences behavior because cues trigger habits automatically without conscious choice. Visibility increases temptation. Accessibility reduces resistance. Social norms shape action. Noise affects focus. Chaos increases impulsivity. Awareness reveals these influences. Control improves through intentional design. Removing triggers reduces effort. Discipline becomes easier. Environment works silently. Many people blame lack of willpower when the real issue is an environment that constantly provokes impulsive behavior. Temptation is everywhere. Constant stimulation weakens focus. Unstructured spaces increase distraction. Awareness shifts responsibility. Redesign restores control. Structure supports consistency. Discipline becomes sustainable. Removing triggers is often more effective than resisting them, because absence reduces temptation automatically. Out of sight reduces desire. Barriers increase pause. Delay weakens impulse. Environment design protects discipline. Awareness guides adjustment. Control improves effortlessly. Energy is preserved. Supportive environments encourage good behavior by making positive choices easier and negative choices harder. Healthy cues reinforce habits. Organization supports clarity. Simplicity reduces stress. Boundaries protect focus. Environment shapes identity. Discipline feels natural. Control becomes consistent. Social environment also matters because behavior is influenced by those around you. Norms shape expectations. Pressure affects choices. Support strengthens discipline. Awareness guides boundaries. Choosing influence carefully protects control. Relationships affect behavior deeply. Structure within environment provides predictability, which reduces decision fatigue and emotional exhaustion. Predictable systems reduce chaos. Routines stabilize behavior. Discipline becomes automatic. Control strengthens quietly. Ultimately, controlling your environment reduces reliance on willpower by aligning with desired behavior. Design replaces struggle. Structure supports discipline. And when environment is intentional, self-control becomes sustainable rather than exhausting. As we reach the final chapter, it is time to bring everything together into a long-term understanding of self-mastery, because true self-control is not temporary behavior change, but a lifelong skill that evolves with awareness and consistency. Chapter 9. Self-mastery, living with control, confidence, and inner stability. This final chapter is important because self-control is not about perfection, but about living with awareness, balance, and confidence over time. In this chapter, you will learn how self-control becomes identity. You will understand why patience matters. You will discover how habits define character. You will learn why balance sustains discipline. You will understand how self-trust is built. You will see why consistency beats intensity. You will learn how growth evolves. You will understand how inner stability forms. You will gain clarity on lifelong self-mastery. You will learn why peace matters more than force. You will understand how self-control supports freedom. And by the end of this chapter, you will see self-control as a way of life. Self-mastery develops gradually because lasting change comes from consistent alignment rather than dramatic transformation. Small actions compound. Awareness deepens. Identity shifts slowly. Confidence grows steadily. Patience supports progress. Discipline stabilizes behavior. Control becomes natural. Balance is essential because extreme control leads to rebellion while flexibility sustains. Consistency. Balance prevents burnout. Rest supports discipline. Enjoyment supports effort. Self-respect sustains growth. Control becomes humane. Self-trust forms when you consistently follow through on commitments without harsh judgment. Trust builds confidence. Confidence reduces fear. Fear weakens impulsivity. Stability improves. Identity strengthens. Consistency matters more than intensity because repeated effort reshapes habits and mindset permanently. Intensity fades. Consistency remains. Discipline compounds. Growth stabilizes. Self-control ultimately supports freedom because choices become intentional rather than reactive. Freedom grows internally. Confidence replaces chaos. Peace replaces struggle. Ultimately, self-mastery is the quiet ability to choose calmly, respond wisely, and live intentionally regardless of circumstances. Control becomes natural. Discipline becomes supportive. Inner stability becomes permanent. In How to Control Yourself Audiobook English, you have learned how awareness, emotional regulation, impulse control, discipline, focus, resilience, thought control, environment design, and self-mastery work together to create calm, confident self-control. This journey is not about becoming rigid or emotionless, but about gaining the ability to choose wisely and live intentionally. If this audiobook helped you reflect, grow, or regain control, we invite you to subscribe to Frema audiobooks like this audiobook, share it with someone who wants better self-discipline, and leave a comment telling us what chapter helped you the most. Thank you for listening to Frema audiobooks. And remember that true self-control is not force, but understanding practiced consistently over time.